Welcome to the Casual Adventure Notes podcast, the Ken podcast. Lazy, easy listening about little life's adventures
And lessons?
and lessons. Let's kick off with our palate cleanser. So our palate cleanser in the context of Ken podcast, it's something a little bit light, a refresher, something to kind of just like distract us from whatever we've been doing for the day so that we kind of go in with an open mind. Hopefully we learn something new or it becomes like a thought prompter for something. We're going to slowly introduce like new palette cleanser over time. You've been listening to the 101 series because I have a bunch of these 101 things I learnt in Black school. And we've done 2 from the psychology book. But I thought I'd actually show you another one today. I have 101 things I learnt in business school. So Debbie, do you want to pick between 1 and 101?
Yeah, sure. Let's go 1.
All right, go 1. Also, hi, I'm
Easy
Doz.
to find. I'm Debbie.
All right, so 101 things I learned in business school, second edition, which I think the cover's just a little bit different. I'm flipping to page 1. All right, page 1, the heading reads, Business is the exchange of values. And then on the left-hand side with the visual, it has a kind of line drawing of a person with a little speech bubble that just has like money signs in it. And it says cost plus profit equals selling price. And then it's representing the seller. In the middle, there's just a sketched out picture of like a cardigan. And then on the right-hand side is that same sketched out person with a bubble with him with the cardigan on it. And it says material value plus emotional reward equals purchase price. The buyer. So what does that all actually mean? So according to this book, in a business transaction, each transactor assigns a higher value to what it receives than what it provides. A customer who buys a sweater for $50 values the sweater more than the $50, while the seller values the $50 more than the sweater. The value of an item is thus not purely material or monetary, but may be emotional in nature. A value may also be anticipatory. One might overpay for an ice cream machine, for example, because of an expectation that it will generate future income. In this sense, business is sometimes defined as the exchange of current value for future value.
Okay. All right. Well, it's kind of like think about the price of a jumper and, one you buy from, say, Target or Kmart, and then another one, let's say from like a luxury brand, like actually maybe the one I'm wearing now, the Celine one, both very similar material, labor, but one is probably 10x the price of the other. But, people have that sort of attachment to a certain brand because they, sometimes tell a story or they've got a heritage, whereas I'm assuming, Kmart probably doesn't have that same emotional attachment.
No, I think Kmart is more monetary and low value.
Yes. Yeah.
It's what it's known for, but it gets the job done. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing just because something's low. I'm just saying that it's different, right?
Yeah. They're not like, they don't have like I said, a story about, the craftsmanship and the, all that spiel that goes with a lot of those more expensive brands. But yeah, those are, it's kind of business fundamentals really, and all about the marketing.
That's the whole book of these. That's the whole point of these books. It's fundamental things about the respective topic or industry. The psychology one is interesting because I don't think a lot of people would come across psychology kind of like statements. Like it's something that's always in the back of everyone's heads, but they don't ever really like talk about it or dig into it themselves, I guess. With business, I think it is more common for people just in experience and growing up, you pick up those business knowledge over time. It's like literally like, oh, like someone's going to sell you something more than they bought it for because they need to make a profit. Like that's a business fundamental because it'd be silly to sell it for less.
Yeah, it's basic economics.
Yeah.
Really, that's kind of giving me a bit of a flashback to uni days, having done a commerce degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the psychology one for me is actually a lot more like self in reflection.
I love psychology. I wish I had the brain to be able to kind of pick it up and like do more with it. But at the moment, I'm just content reading fun facts and learning about it and using it as a tool for self reflection or to better my empathy for other people and people in the world, which is
Very
really
good.
fun. So our main course today, I've been feeling a little bit nostalgic. So I've been rewatching a lot of cartoons that I grew up with. And one of the ones that is kind of a core part of my childhood is a series called Digimon. It's classified as a anime technically because I'm pretty sure that it was started in Japan. And it is aimed for kids, but I started watching the remake of it. So the first series of Digimon came out in 1999. It's known as Digital Adventures. It had characters, if anyone's watched it, these names will be familiar to them, like Tai and Sora and Matt and Kyrie and TJ. I watched the American dub version on our television back in the day.
Wasn't that like back on like 7, 8?
Yeah, like it's the show that you watch like before school. I think it was one of the earlier ones as well. But I was awake at that time for whatever reason. And it was the show that like really hooked me. And if I really think back to it, I think it's also the show that got me into anime and opened a lot of like traits that are kind of evident in my personality today. But I was watching the remake because they actually redid Digimon Adventures in 2020 to celebrate their 20th anniversary. So they kind of like
a complete, when you say remake, it's like a complete like 1-to-1.
Yeah.
It's just improved graphics and animation, but the characters, the plot, it's all consistent.
Yeah. And honestly, it still holds up in my opinion. I love it. I think it's so what I really loved about Digimon that I think it's a good storyline, a good plot. I think there's subtle messaging in there that is like kind of like interesting to take on and think about. I love the characters and character developments. That's actually probably the key thing that attracted me to it. And then as part of the celebration, they really tugged at the nostalgic strings of anybody who grew up with it because they released also, I think in the same year, 2020, Digimon Tri. T-R-I is Tri, right? Tree? T-R-I.
T-R-I. Tree.
Digimon Tree?
Yeah.
I just said try because I thought it meant 3, but it's actually a 6-part series, so I don't even know. Anyways, that series is based on the original characters from the first season and it's set like 6 years later. So a lot of these kids back then, I think they were like younger. Like I don't know how old they were exactly, probably like 14, knowing how Japanese anime works. And then 6 years later, like a lot of the older ones are like in high school. And it's interesting because it plays on the idea of like, hey, we were like going out finding adventures without a care in the world and just trying to save the world together like 6 years ago. But now we're in high school and they have like different life problems that they think about and care about.
That's actually become a very popular concept these days where they used to tap on nostalgia, but they bring them to the current day and age.
Yeah.
Because they've done that with a lot of shows from back in the early 2000s. I think they did it for, I know you don't like scary movies, but like they did it for It, where it was them battling this clown from when they were kids, and then the sequel was them as adults. Yeah. I'm assuming that's the same sort of premises of that tree.
I think so, because I was thinking about like, so that's what I've actually been watching. So I knew it came out in 2020 and I actually did watch like bits and pieces of it then. And then I never got around to finishing it. And then it kind of just came across one of my recommendations in the last few weeks. I've been kind of clicking on it and I noticed that I've just kind of been hooked in watching through it. And I guess I'll give a little overview of those who don't know what Digimon is. I'll try my best to describe it or explain the storyline. I feel like I'm not going to do it justice. But the general concept of it is it's a there's an alternative universe where there are Digimons, which are almost like pets, and it's called Digimon because there's some kind of weird tech element to it. but not physical, like human tech that you know of today. It's literally like they just call it like the digital world. And then in there, like if a Digimon dies, for example, they can be rebirthed because it's all digitized.
Okay, so it's like sort of like similar to like in a way Pokemon faints and then you can like revive it. But the world is that no one dies, isn't it? Digimon.
Well, some people like, yeah, technically the Digimons don't die because I remember this really dramatic scene of one of this Digimon dying, but I think it does get reborn later. Anyways, that's not even the point of the thing.
Oh,
That's
but
just the
is
world
this
building.
the one where they get reborn, but as a baby,
Yeah.
like in an egg or something? Ah, okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like so you're like potentially training this Digimon, and then if it like you know dies, it then gets reincarnated as a baby again.
So I'm not, even though I'm a big fan, I don't know the lore very well. So when I'm going to like
The laws of Digimon.
retell the plot, it's actually only from my interpretation and my point of view. So I don't think you train it like you would in Pokemon where you catch a Pokemon and then you like train it up. So
Mhm.
I'm basing this on season 1. I only watched season 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, but season 1 is the one that like I hold the most dearly. But what happens in season 1 is these kids are at camp together and then they get kind of like swept away in a way and then they like land in the digital world. And then they have Digimons, these like little pet animal monster looking things. They're paired up already. Like these monsters or Digimons are like attracted to each individual kid. So you're not like catching multiple Digimons. Like there's just this one Digimon. For some reason, there's this like relationship connection that they have with this specific kid. And then these kids out of nowhere, they get like a Digivice, which is like a little like controller screen thing, which is some kind of thing that connects them to their Digimon because that's what they use to power up their Digimons as they build on their relationships. Bless you, I guess.
Sorry, I've got like allergies.
But the whole storyline, it's a bit of character development and it's about like how their relationship grow and how they'll like do anything for each other. And there's really cute like themes throughout it. So for example, there's like an older brother and little brother in that. There's best friend, and then there's also a little sister, and one of the boy and the little sister. So Ty and Kyrie, for example, we explored how like there's a backstory that's in a movie. If you watch the movie, it gives you kind of like a prelogue to understand like why Ty is a certain way, but he's like super protective of her because she's prone of getting really sick. So he gets like overprotective, and then you kind of see how people are like stop being so overprotective. So there's kind of like that theme. Excuse me, recovering from a cold. And then you get like Matt and TK who are brothers, and then how Matt gets really overprotective about TK, and then he has a fight with Ty, and it's just about like different dynamics and how they kind of relate to each other. There's Mimi, the very girly one who like comes across very ditzy, but she's actually more than that, and it's about like her navigating that. There's Sora, who's like kind of tomboyish, at least in the American version. So the funny thing is she's actually a lot more girly in the Japanese version. I learnt later on. But she's a bit tomboyish in the original series. And then it's about her like navigating like how to be more girly, especially next to Mimi, who is known to be like the pink girly one. And each of them represent a different element. And I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm just going to quickly Google
I
it.
kind of like always notice, like, I mean, I don't know, I haven't watched any other animes from other countries. I don't know if anime is actually technically exclusive to Japanese and Japan, but all like these, shows and movies, they always have such deep meaning and explore such complex, whether it's relationships or, like you said, dynamics. Like Spirited Away, for example. You look at the cover and just think it's a kids movie, but there's so much complexity on the hidden meaning behind that. And I was surprised with Digimon. I've only watched a couple of episodes here and there, so I know probably even much less than you do. But I mean, I don't even recall all that when watching it, back in the day.
So I'm very biased. My favorite character was Kairi, who is the little sister. She actually doesn't even appear until a couple episodes later, unless you watch the movie. I was obsessed with her, and I had no idea why. Like 2 till today, I still don't know why she's actually my favorite character. But I was so obsessed with her that I used to mimic her. Like, so her character,
Mimic her.
yeah, her
Like dress like her?
yeah.
And like her demeanor and stuff.
She didn't really have a strong demeanor. She was just like a cute character, but she didn't have like a big personality or anything like that. So you can't copy her personality. But I copied like what she looked like. So for example, when she's like younger, she wore a whistle all the time. So then when I was younger, I wore a whistle all the time for no reason. Like it wasn't for emergencies. It wasn't for my safety. It was just because I was copying her. And then when she was a little bit older, like in a later season, she transitions to wearing a camera around her neck. So I started wearing a camera around my neck and being obsessed with taking photos. Like I was actually obsessed with her for no reason. I used to copy her hair. So when she got older, she had like a side fringe and she would always like clip it up, like put a clip in the side fringe. And I did that. I don't know why, man. I just really liked her. I was just
would you say
mirroring
like
her.
would you say you had like more influences on your style from like anime and cartoon versus like your real life?
Definitely when I was little. I was like obsessed with like 2D characters, like low key still kind of am. Like actually a Digimon character was my first crush. I was probably like, I don't know.
Like the creature that's not gendered or anything.
No. The human character.
Oh, the human. Okay.
Yeah. I like mind you, I was probably like 7 or 8. So like, I don't know. And like a crush was like very innocent back then. But the main character named Tai, who's like the leader of the group, he was my first crush. But like, it's weird. He was my first crush, but because you're 8, you don't like imagine him as being your boyfriend or anything like that. Instead, again, I'm like, as a sign of respect, I'm going to mirror how you look. So in the cartoon, he wears goggles, at least in the first season.
Swimming goggles?
They're like, I don't know. They're just
on his head or around his neck?
on his head. Sometimes on his neck, but on his head.
Did he wear it and then did he actually wear them on his eyes?
I seen him wear it on his eyes,
Like
but
what?
I don't remember why. They're not, I don't know what kind of goggles they are, but they almost remind me of the goggles you wear like either skiing or the ones like if you fly, like you know how like pilots in
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, the ones that like
they're
not
biggish.
airplanes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Don't know the purpose of the goggles if I'm honest. I feel like he might have wore it when he was playing sport. I don't know. Anyways, it was his trademark look, right? And then I'm like, as a sign of respect, I must also mirror how you look. So I used to wear my swimming goggles on my head for no reason at all.
And did you wear this with the whistle and the camera? And
No. I had different
All
phases.
together.
So when I was in my Kyrie phase, then I'd wear my whistle on my camera. But when I was in my Thai phase, I'd wear my goggles on my head. And it's pretty cute actually because I watch kids do it now. I feel like when kids like something, they just want to wear it. And then like fun for their parents, they will go out in public like that. So it's like no context at all. You'll see like a little kid's dressed up in Spider-Man in the grocery store. So I was a kid with swimming goggles on top of my head in casual clothing. And my mum's like, take them off. And I was like, no.
I think like a few years ago when like Frozen came out and then like every single like little girl was wearing like the Elsa outfit and in public with the blonde wig. Yeah. Like such an influence, huh?
Yeah.
What would you think?
I can't find the elements. I only remember Kari's anyway. She was the crest of light. Like that was her thing. So she was
the angel?
Yeah, she has an angel Digimon. It's actually when she meets her Digimon, it's actually a cat first, and then it evolves to a like an angel woman later.
How does that even work?
Also, one of my
Cat to
favorite
angel.
Digimon. One of my favorite Digimon is Angemon. I think that's how I pronounce it.
The
angel lady.
And then there was a male angel as well.
Yes, that was TK's Digimon.
Yeah.
My other favorite Digimon is Lilymon, which is the evolved form of Mimi's Digimon.
Is that the one that looks like a cactus with a flower on her
She's
head?
a cactus. So the cactus is one of the evolution, and then from the cactus, so it starts off with a bird. I don't know how this works. It's a.
So how did this?
I lied. It's not even a pink bird. It's so
funny.
Digimon.
Like the evolution is just so random. Like if it was from a cat to an angel,
No.
Whereas at least in Pokemon, like you can see how, like from the starting point to the end point, they
Mimi's ones
connect.
make sense. I misspoke. I imagined the wrong one in my head. So Mimi's Digimon is actually like a flower plant first. It's like it has a lily on her head, and then she transforms to a cactus, and then she transforms to Lilymon. And
Oh, yeah, I remember
Lilymon
that.
was my favorite. Lilymon, I just liked because she was pink and girly and cute. If I ever got into cosplay in my life, I 100% would have done like a Lilymon cosplay, but did not. But I just had an epiphany remembering that Kyrie was the crest of light. I think the reason I really liked her is because she was like the symbol of like good in the world. So I think that was just always really nice. And I think that was where my admiration of her came from.
Oh, yeah, because the whole thing of angels and demons. Angels symbolize like your hope and your savior, sort of. Yeah. Okay.
What was TK's element? What was TK's crest?
I didn't even realize they had elements. I just thought they were little like monsters, Digimon.
No, these are the chosen Digidestins. So they have crests of something. So they're special. Like they're like destined to save the world in that generation.
The kids and the Digimon.
Yeah. So TK was the crest of hope, which is the angel dude. Like he evolves to the angel dude. So he's the hope of the world.
The male angel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other, all the crests. I'm typing this into a laptop in Digimon Season 1. So we had. Oh, I'm looking on my computer and there's like symbols for each crest. And I actually remember being obsessed with the crest. And I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to get a tattoo of those crests. I did not because I'm scared of needles.
Jeez, I didn't realize how like complex and, whole Digimon thing. I literally just thought of as, I guess only having watched a couple of episodes and not being really into it compared to Pokemon, that there's all these like little like I'm assuming like side quests and things that combine because the Digimons alone they could also combine together. Was that right?
I think later on, like in later season, the Digimons could combine to like have like an epic thing. Because I remember Matt and Ty's Digimon combining to beat an evil guy later on, but that's not a common thing.
Okay, all right.
And they also, so unlike Pokemon, they have like a core stage of their life. So like the cat is like the main form. So when she
one that follows around.
So when she goes into angel like mode, she like then evolves.
Yep. So like her it's like maybe like your sort of Super Saiyan sort of stage, and then once the battle's finished, reverts back to the nice walking partner animal.
Well, yeah, because they're pets. They follow you. They're like pets, so that you don't trap them in a ball like Pokemon.
Yeah. Do you remember like I've seen these like recent memes of like them people deliberately confusing Pokemon and Digimon, like they'll have Digimon and have Pokemon characters instead.
Trigger.
And then it'll like trigger people in the comment section because like this is not Digimon. Come on.
Yeah, I think it would trigger a lot of people.
Yeah.
I do find, at least in our generation, you are either a Pokemon kid or a Digimon kid. You could definitely like and watch both because I watched both and I liked both, but you definitely skew one. So you either were a Digimon kid or a Pokemon kid. I was definitely a Digimon kid.
No, I was definitely Pokemon.
And you can tell, right? Because from how you grew up, I never played any of the Pokemon games, but I had Digivices.
I had Digivices too, but I don't know how expansive, like, in terms of the gaming Digimon, because I remember we had these little, like, pocket things. It was, like, a simple, like
Tamagotchi.
Like 8-bit thing, and then 3 buttons, and you'd battle, and you train it, and you feed it. I think it also, like, did, like, poops as well. You have to clean it and stuff. Yeah, that one. But I don't know whether it had any other like more advanced games similar to Pokemon, on the Game Boy and
games come out later, but it's not the same. Was Pokemon a game before it was an anime though?
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference though. Pokemon was always a game first, and then the series came later to almost like promote people to buy the game.
Yeah, that's right.
Digimon was a series first. It's a storyline, which kind of makes sense because in my opinion, I think Digimon has a deeper storyline.
Yeah, Pokemon's got like your sort of, again, it's like about your kid, like, a kid who was, I think Ash Ketchum, he's like, I can't remember, like 10. He's always 10. He's been 10 for the last like 30 years, but concept of him going on an adventure, But it's more him battling than him learning, anything that's, relevant to reality, such as, there is like friendship and all that stuff and strategy, but nothing like around like sibling dynamics and, best friends and
Yeah, there was a lot
saving
of
the
storyline.
world.
Saving the world was a big, that was the kind of the core storyline. I'm actually like, it's my new fixation. And as an adult, I want a new perspective and take on it. So I'm probably going to rewatch it, study the lore bit, and maybe in a future episode, I can like retell that. But just so I can close the circle, the list of crests there's a crest of courage, friendship, love, sincerity, knowledge, reliability, hope, light, kindness, miracles, destiny.
Okay, can I just say, was the person that had the knowledge crest, did he wear glasses?
I think so. I'm pretty sure it was Joe.
And he's like
No,
a little bit nerd.
it's Izzy. I forgot. Oh my God, I forgot Izzy was actually a character. Izzy's like this little short nerdy guy. He's like the main IT guy. He's the smartest one.
But he looks like
He doesn't wear glasses.
Oh, okay. Was there one that wore glasses?
Yes, that's Joe. He was the
crest
crest
was
of
he?
reliability. So
okay.
he was just reliable. So he's
Love it.
he did play into the stereotype of like a character with glasses, nerdy looking, and he was like the wimp of the group, like especially early on. And then he's like storyline, I don't remember exactly what happened, but he like how he activated his crest of reliability was like him like stepping up. Like in the end, when crunch comes to crunch, he was relied on and stepped up. So he stopped being a wimp to like save his friends and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz sort of ending where they all gain something. But it's really funny though. It's such I mean, I was being very stereotypical and assumed that the kid with the knowledge was on with the glasses, but they were obviously beyond their time and didn't want to stereotype the person with glasses as being the one with the crest of knowledge.
Yeah, no, Izzy just looks pretty cool. He's just like this little cute kid, spiky brown hair, wore an orange top. I think he had a crush on Mimi. I think that was like a whole thing. They got like some of them got together like in the future. So the last episode
when they're in their 20s, like the tree
the high school
theory.
one.
Yeah. They got together then, or as in during like the original.
No, not as kids. They're not like, there's no like romantic relationships in season 1.
Yeah.
In high school, there's like hints of it, but there is a last episode of like that season, like the main Digimon adventure story in that world. There's like a last episode where you see them as adults, and it's just previews of where they end up and what they do in the future. And I think some of them get together, but some of them are from season 2. So there's like other characters as well that come later.
Characters. So does any of them end up in some like 9 to 5 like office job, or they're all like doing? Oh, okay,
like one's
really?
a fashion designer.
Oh yeah.
That's the one I remember. Kyrie's a kindergarten teacher because I remember everything about her.
There's one that just like
there's one
didn't do anything.
There's one.
It's just like
they all have jobs. There's one. So Ty becomes like some kind of like relation business person in the English version to like do peace between the digital world and the real world. Like they made that a role. So he's like in a suit walking with Argumon. He's Digimon.
Okay. All right. Oh, so that means that the real world knows of the Digimon world.
Yeah. So the first season, the first few episodes, they don't. So the story is like when you're in the digital world, every day is not equivalent of one day in the Earth world, because they thought they were like separated from their parents in the real world for like weeks, months, however long. But it ended up only being like 2 days or something, or a couple of hours. Like it's very short. So time moves faster in the digital world.
I do remember that concept because I'm like the parents would be like, "Where are my kids?" If they've been gone for that, what would seem to like months or weeks.
The world building in Digimon is actually quite insane. I don't think I've actually stopped to appreciate it and learn it properly because I was less than 10 years old when I watched it.
Well, like you said, you can watch it again and give your sort of second take on all the themes and storylines.
I will. It's just it's the thing I'm really into at the moment. I will continue to watch it, so I apologize in advance if I bring it up and just tell you about it. But yeah, I'm having fun. Are you Do you ever feel nostalgic and just rewatch Pokemon or anything like that?
I do, but I watch like certain like particular episodes that just always like remember.
Yeah.
But it's just like with like these series, there's like hundreds of episodes, so it's a bit of a commitment to if you want to rewatch everything, every episode from the start.
Yeah.
So I just go to my selective ones I remember from when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably just do a binge soon. I don't know. I'll see. Let's end with our dessert. So, gratitude of the week or the moment, the day, whatever's been happening recently that we want to call out and appreciate.
Me first. So I've actually been on like a fast food ban for the month of April, and I actually went through without eating any Macca's, KFC, Red Rooster. So really happy about that. Although I did have it yesterday, and it's as delicious as it was when I was having it back in March and Feb and Jan and every other day.
Nice. What am I grateful for besides Digimon? Because I just spent the last few hours talking about it. I think I'm grateful for creatives. I think I'm grateful for people who make a living to create stories for us, whether it be in the form of a book, shows. So I guess writers in particular as well, people who just come off the ideas and actually producing it for entertainment for people to consume. I think it's not appreciated as much as it should be because I think it provides like a nice, if not escapism from real life all the time, but just
it's
in
not
general.
just a show or a book. Like some people have form such emotional attachments to it, or it gets them through tough times. Yeah.
It makes you feel less alone sometimes.
Yeah,
depending.
and then it's not even from the show, but sometimes how you meet, future friends. You have
Common
that sort of common
interests.
interest. Yeah.
For sure. All right. And then meal prep goals for the next few days, the next week, what we want to do. Let's try to think one that's not related to producing more episode of this podcast, which I always default to. I think mine's going to be, it's a small goal, but because I kind of talked about getting back into Digimon to actually maybe binge it, that I can talk more to it and maybe be less of a fake fan and actually be able to repeat or call out some lore next time.
Not spreading fake news.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do that. How about you?
Geez, it's a hard one. I think I am going. My sleep pattern's been kind of really like non-consistent, so I'm going to start something easy and try to like go to bed a bit more consistent, so I don't wake up, next day fully exhausted, black eyes. So yeah, I'm going to try to get to bed at a reasonable time.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice one.
All about the health.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. We appreciate you and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See you later. Bye.